Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey, and we want to finish off our Springbank tour here with a couple of the distillery. These were the samples that I got, and I never did really finish these samples, so why not finish them here? This, I believe, it wasn't a cask strength. I think this is a 46, if I remember rightly here. I'm pretty sure it's a 46%. Yeah, and this was strictly it's a private bottling for distillery, the distillery tour. There were several of these. Now I got extra ones. I was kind of very fortunate to get extras. So and as you can see, I've got I had a couple extras of these guys here. That was the 10, by the way. And then we got the Long Grow. And
I purchased the Long Grow 9-year-old Palo Cortado from the popular Springbank Distillery whiskey cage.
15, there's the Portwood, etc. This stuff here, I picked it up at a pretty good price. So for you that are looking at purchasing Springbank in North America, you're probably going to get beat up by the flippers. Certainly at the distillery, the prices are reasonable. And when I think of it, I should have brought back more. But at the time, you're thinking about duty and that, and then I'm thinking, duty's nothing compared to what the flippers are doing. These are the people making a profit on it. So, interesting thing, there is a Springbank Society. They have exclusive tastings throughout Europe and, throughout the UK. There's such a following of Springbank now. When I first got into Springbank, it was practically unheard of. And of course, my son turned me on to it, and that was quite a few years back. And today, it's one of the more difficult whiskeys to get. And when you think back in the days when, my son introduced me to it, I mean, I went out and I was able to buy another bottle of it after he got me a bottle. It wasn't that hard to get a hold of. Different story today. Springbank produces, they've doubled their production, so they're up now around 260,000. That's a fraction of what most distilleries produce, in Scotland. And of course, Kilkerran, another fantastic whiskey. I believe it was 60,000. It gets up around the 90,000. They are trying to expand, but they also want to keep things old school. And their way of expansion is not modernizing. It's hiring more staff. So they've now got an exclusive malting crew, distilling crew, etc. The key with their philosophy is let's keep doing things the way they were done 100 plus years ago. In fact, they're getting close to their 200th anniversary. I believe that's 2028. Yeah. So I'm a fan of Springbank. I've seen a lot of criticism of the cost of the bottles. The criticism should never be directed at the distillery. It's basically the situation that happens when you only produce so much. So here's the trade-off. They can modernize and increase their production. Will we still have that same whiskey? They use old school methods, and you don't modernize with old school methods. So the trade-off is the whiskey I'm tasting is unique. How unique would it be when they modernize? So that's what you're going to get if you're looking at increasing the production to where it's readily available as its neighbor. If you take a look here, your Glen Scotia, a little bit more readily available. Now there is some of that Campbelltown funk in your Glen Scotia. So when you can't get a Springbank, this is also a good Campbelltown whiskey. So, and I don't have the Kilkerran here. Should actually bring it out so you can see it. And why I didn't put it up here, I don't know. Might as well have them all organized here. Put the Wolfburn down here, and let's stick the Kilkerran up there. There it belongs. So Kilkerran was the Glengyle distillery, of course. which is, it's a few hundred yards from the Springbank Distillery. So a lot of your available whiskeys, we're probably going to see more Kilkerran available right now. Of course, the Glen Scotia, different distillery, but if you're trying to get into the Campbelltown funk, certainly it's a worthwhile look. These whiskeys here are going to be harder to get. That's all there is to it. The 10, even the 10, the 10, you start getting up into the 21s and all that stuff. And I could have purchased those, by the way, they were pricey. But they've now got a 16, and they've got the local barley 13. That was part of their tastings and all that. But anyways, let's get into this Distillery Exclusive here. It is a Springbank whiskey. It is a non-age statement, but my understanding is most of these whiskeys are a minimum of 8-9 years old, so we'll go along with that. And let's get into it. Let's give this a pour. And good old Springbank. When I first started drinking Springbank, if I'd known it was going to be this, if I could have imagined it was going to be this hard to, because very few people even knew about Springbank. I mean, I had mentioned it to someone, they didn't know what I was talking about. So, but today, there's still people that don't. I mean, there's people that say they love Scotch, they know Scotch, but you mention Springbank, they don't know what you're talking about. When you're producing 260,000 liters, compared to some place like Glenfiddich, what's it producing? 16 million? It's hard to fathom that they're still able to get this whiskey around the world, in that small volume. But you take something like this Wolfburn here. I mean, it's probably very close to that production, if that, and I was able to pick that up locally. So, one of the newer Scottish distilleries. That's a 10-year-old, by the way, and good whiskey. So, a lot of it is the market, the demand. That's what it's all about. So, anyways, the Distillery Exclusive Springbank. Let's give it the nose. And right off the bat, there's something about Springbank. It's that, and they talk about the funk. It's that an industrial smell you get, and the sweetness. And I believe there is a little bit of sherry in this, but the bourbon is there for sure. The malt, you really get a hit of the malt. But a slight bit of smoke, sort of a sweet nose to it, and a little bit of the rubber boots. Maybe a distant beach fire, some seaweed, you get that coastal air smell. That's what it is, the coastal air smell. Of course, you're right on the Atlantic there. So, okay, let's give it the palate. The Springbank Exclusive, 46% ABV. Some sherry. I don't know what the percentage is, but primary bourbon. Okay, Slàinte. I love Springbank. That's all there is to it. I don't think I've ever had bad Springbank. I know some people have, but maybe I have poor shoes. So, right off the bat, I'm getting that malt, the sweetness of the malt, a bit of pineapple, even some nectarines, but the smoke, it's there. You know, I'm gonna give it the nose again here because there's something musky about it, and I got it in the palate. So I'm getting a little bit of licorice, black licorice, salted black licorice, like Dutch licorice. The uniqueness of this whiskey, it is just different than a lot of other distilleries. I'm going to go for the development and the finish. Slàinte Mhath. Delicious. The nectarines, pears, pineapple, fruity. That's the best way to describe it, fruity. Some berry stuff going on. Still a little bit of the licorice going on. And I'm going to stay with the Dutch licorice. The finish is going to be, I would say, at least a medium finish on this. So for a sample from the distillery, this is actually one of the better samples I had of all the tours I did, the distillery tours in Scotland. This is one of the better samples. This is an example of a really well-made whiskey. So in terms of age, I'm not going to question the age of it. It could be 8, 9, 10. It's a non-age statement, probably more of an 8 or 9. But it tastes older than that. There's, you know, they're using good casks. That's all there is to it. So let's add some water. Just a couple drops there. That's all we need. Let's say three drops. Okay, with water, the nose. Still got the rubber tires. The seaside air, the breeze, the seaside breeze. You can hear the seagulls. You can hear the waves splashing. But it's got some seaweed, some seaweed notes. Salt, a sweetness, and there's some floral stuff going on, but also something musky. And it's really it's opened up that the floral notes. I wasn't getting so much floral notes, but it's really opened it up when I added the water. Okay, Slàinte Mhath. The water right away really amplifies the sweetness. I lost a little bit of the sweet and sour, a little bit more sweet, and I'm going to say that the tires I'm going to say that the rubber boots are still there. I'm tasting maybe some s'mores. You know what s'mores are. Toasted marshmallows and chocolate, and there's some meatiness to it. A little bit of barbecue sauce, smoky barbecue sauce, and just a really nice drink. I'm impressed with what they're giving us on the tour, to taste. So, anyways, at that, this is another 84-85 is what it is. That's where I'd put it. Again, if you could do the distillery tour, this is what you're looking forward to. You're looking forward to these samples, decent sized ones too, and I'm lucky because there was quite a few of us on that tour, and I got some extra ones given to me by well, we won't get into that. But anyways, and I'm very appreciative to the crew at Springbank. Really nice people. It's a tour that's well worth doing. If you're going to do a tour of any of the distilleries, make sure that Springbank is included. I know it's a little out of the way. You got to go down the Kintyre Peninsula. It's 3 hours out of Glasgow, 3.5 hours driving, but it is well worth it because there's no distillery quite like it. So, having said that, I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, Slàinte Mhath.